Think your house is haunted, but you're unsure? You can't seem to have a team come out and check it out for you? Well, if you're brave enough, you can do it yourself, because in this day and age, guess what? There's an app for that. So in this new segment, what I'm going to be doing is downloading these apps from the App Store. I'm going to be testing them out with Charlie back here, and we're going to see exactly how they work.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I founded my first paranormal team back in 2006. It was the Southeastern Ghost Research Association. It was based out of a small town called Elwelll, Alabama. I actually started that team after something negative was going on in my life for a number of years. I had a dog that had passed away, and I thought for a while that the dog was pulling on my blankets. I firmly believe that animals can have spirits. And I was half asleep one night, and I kicked my foot back, and I hit something solid, and I heard something say my name. Well, let's face it, a dog's not going to do that. And I remember waking up and feeling this pressure on my chest and my throat, like something was choking me. Best way I can describe it would be what some would call a bout of sleep paralysis. When I was finally able to shake it off and I looked up, there was a figure standing at the foot of my bed that didn't walk, it like glided backwards into the hallway. And when it dissipated, the light bulb in the hallway got extremely bright and shattered.
Oh my God.
I started researching and come to find out that other people had had similar things that known as the old hag attack. I started digging, and then I went out and I bought a cheap voice recorder, cheap video camera, cheap 35mm camera. And any place that I heard of that was haunted, I went and checked out.
Why I reached out to you to begin with is because of your debunking. Your TikTok is hilarious.
It actually started off on my YouTube channel. I've always been a huge fan of debunking. I prefer to disprove my own stuff before I put it out there for other people to scrutinize, because if I can't disprove it, then I'm fairly confident that I've got something that no one else is going to be able to explain. There's two different things that I debunk. You know, I debunk the ones that are blatant fakes. And that's just because, you know what, that gives everyone in the field bad credibility. It makes everyone look at us and laugh. The other ones that I try to debunk aren't necessarily to call anybody out. It's more along the lines of investigators that are kind of novice. They don't have much experience in the field, so they may be capturing something that is naturally explainable, but they just don't know exactly what they're looking at. Yesterday, actually, I had someone contact me because I put a favorite mark on their video, and they contacted me and said, please don't do my video.
In your opinion, if out of all the tools you've inspected, what's the best paranormal investigating tool?
My favorite tool, my go-to period, going to be a voice recorder. I think it's better than any spirit box out there. I think it's better and less chance of interference in any portal box or whatever you're looking at out there. My least favorite, to be honest with you, is the K2 meter. Actually, due to contrary belief, if you go and look up the K2 meter on a website that creates these devices, they will straight tell you they do not operate in the Elwelll zone. They do not operate in extremely low frequency zone. A lot of the places that sell it, they're actually kind of misleading people into buying it. So this would actually measure it at 1.5 milligauss at its lowest. The Elwelll zone is something like 0.10 to 1.3 milligauss.
Do you have maybe some other common tips that you would recommend for investigator group going out there trying to debunk their stuff? Maybe they're newer to it.
What really helped me out when I got started, I wasn't afraid to ask. I went and I found people that had more experience than I did, especially with photographs. Overlook it quickly at first, because 9 times out of 10, if there is something paranormal in a photograph, it's just going to instantly jump at you. When you start looking for it, that's when you start getting pixelization, you start getting pareidolia, you start, having simulacrums happen where you're seeing faces that aren't there. It's just literally the way the pixels are aligning because your brain's trying to make sense of what you're looking at, because typically the pictures are dark. Also keep in mind that whenever you're taking a picture at night, with or without flash, the shutter on your camera stays open longer. So if anything walks in front of your camera, you're going to get a blur. So take that into account as well.
One of the questions I had reached out to you was the handprint.
Never have we had something that we've almost physically taken something away with it. It's that separation of while we're there and while we're away.
That's very atypical that you wouldn't feel it occur. Normally it would be a spot of extreme cold or a spot of extreme hot. Like it would feel like it's burning, or it would feel like someone took dry ice and stuck it to your skin. So I'm wondering if maybe you just had a small amount of transference there that was just enough to leave that handprint.
Yeah, I think that's completely valid.
With your years of experience, what do you like to see from investigators when collecting evidence?
Tagging voice recorders. I have seen so many teams out there that they are horrible at it. Someone will scuffle their feet and no one will say anything. You know what? That scuffle of a foot on a voice recorder that's 15 feet away could very easily sound like a voice.
You have notepads of your notes. You go outside, you check like power lines, you check everything around your surrounding areas before you actually do your hunt, which I think is incredible. And one of the reasons why me personally, I just respect your opinion so much, just because you are going way out of your way that I feel like most people don't.
So I like to do what I call my prelims. Someone contacts me and they want me to investigate their house, right? Private residence. I go in, I interview them. I find out whether or not I think they're credible. I interview these people 3 or 4 times. I don't just do it once. So if someone requests an investigation from me, it's typically a month-long process. I'm not going to be jumping right into it because you don't know what kind of crazy people are out there. Once I deem them credible, I will go to their house. I'll walk around the property with different EMF detectors and I'll note down baselines. I'll make notes of power lines because I sketch out the property. I'll sketch out each room. I have it mentally, hey, if I walk by here and this device fluctuates, there is a light switch on the other side of this wall. And on top of that, you can also mark hazards this way. I'm certified first aid CPR. I'm also certified to use an AED. I have 2 other people on my team that are certified as well. So it never hurts to have someone on your team that is first aid certified.
That is an amazing
Yeah, we never even thought
suggestion.
about that.
One of my favorite places to go in the area is Medfield State Hospital in Medfield, Massachusetts. That's my research folder.
Oh, geez.
Oh my God. That's awesome. That shows how dedicated you are to this.
Everything that we do in the paranormal is based on theories, right? It's based on in theory this, in theory that. You can't take paranormal, put it into a scientifically controlled environment and get repeated results to test a hypothesis.
Yeah.
It's physically impossible. So everything that we do is based in the realm of pseudoscience. If a spirit can manipulate this device to speak to me, then why can't it manipulate my phone through an application to speak?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's so interesting when we started doing the Estes method, me or somebody else will put on sound canceling headphones and it'll just be plugged straight into the spirit box.
I know a lot of people have experienced this when they do the Estes method. Do you experience the drain of energy once you're done with the session?
Absolutely. There's a video that's coming out soon. You can see me just like physically, mentally, emotionally get drained. I start tearing up a little bit. I start putting my head down. I don't even realize I'm doing it in the moment.
From my experience, I would always say what I hear, whether or not it makes sense to me, because you know what? Someone in another room may be talking about something, and whatever comes through to you that might sound like complete nonsense might actually coincide with what someone else is talking about in another room that you have no idea.
The type of evidence that we're able to catch with that technique, whether it's me or somebody else in the group doing it and just saying what we believe should be said. And it's not that there's very minimal stuff that we'll keep out, because sometimes it'll just be flipping through radio stations and you can't even comprehend.
Do you use the original SB7 or do you use the 11?
We use that one.
Yeah, we have 2 of them.
Love this one. Have you ever thought about doing strobe light filming?
I don't think we
I
have.
don't think so.
I kind of do the Estes method, only instead of a blindfold, I cut a ping pong ball in half and tape it over my eyes.
I've seen that before.
It's a sensory deprivation, but you can still kind of see. It's cloudy. But if you put a strobe light going the fastest speed possible, sometimes you can see things slowly walk by. Because you think about it, a strobe light makes the humans slow down when they run through it, right? Why wouldn't a ghost do the same thing?
I've seen this technique with like a wax candle. You look kind of not directly at the flame, but you're kind of looking either right above it or right to the side. So obviously you don't hurt your eyes, but you can see like in your peripherals, because you're just tunneling in there and it kind of opens up your mind to see things that maybe you wouldn't normally see.
Yeah, it's a type of scrying. It's similar to doing like
Scrying,
a psychomantium, where you're staring back into a mirror that's, alternate of you.
Dude, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
You
you.
are
Thank you.
incredibly nice, and we appreciate it.
Maybe sometime within the next year, I'll make it out to Ohio and we can get together.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
that sounds great. And where can people find you?
You know what? You can find me on TikTok at Static Voices. You can find me on YouTube. Just search Nate Elwell. You can find me on Instagram at Nate Elwell. You can find me on Facebook at Nate Elwell. And I'm sure I've got other profiles out there that I probably forgot about.